Hello, and welcome to Mechwarrior Online. A subscriber yesterday asked me a question whether he thought this was a viable mech for mech play. And obviously, I want to be proud of this thing that I've had, this marvel that I've created, and say, oh, absolutely. I will say this, to be honest, and to pull my emotions out of the chamber. You have to learn how to drive one of these mechs in order to properly use it. And because my build is an entirely different build than most people actually ever use, it's kind of a learning curve is involved. You have to learn how to use this mech properly in order to be able to dish out the amounts of damage that I do pretty regularly in this build. I've tried several different builds on this mech, and I've even changed the Omnipods a few times, but I don't think I even have a single video about it. But what I have done is figured out a build that works exceptionally well at dealing lots and lots of damage. And you have to be careful how you drive this mech because the majority of the weapons are out on the arms, and if you lose the arms, it's going to be a tough day. Not to mention, the side torso is huge. Well, the side torso isn't, but the arms are. These big dish-looking things that look like something out of a Chinese wok buffet are just marvelous. But they do capture quite a bit of damage from your sides. You need to be careful with that. It is nice, however, that there's these big open spaces in between here where weapons will go right past you. And I've seen people go, and I've said this too, it's like, I can't believe I missed him. And that's exactly what happens. So you have to learn how to drive these mechs properly and realizing the fact that this is not a Mad Cat and it's certainly not a Timberwolf where your missiles are way up high, either in line with the cockpit or above the cockpit. So those are some of the things you need to think about. Not a Mad Cat, not a Timberwolf, certainly not a Shadow Cat. This is a humanoid mech, and as a humanoid mech is, it's going to have the weapons slung a little bit lower. When you have weapons, or when you have mechs that are built kind of like, I call them chicken mechs, or bird mechs, because they have the bird wing sort of thing. They look like a chicken. So there's chickens and there's humanoids. And those are the basic two types of mechs we have in Mechwarrior. And there's some things that are kind of like a hybrid between the two, kind of like a huntsman or something. So anyway, this is set up this way. I've got 5 LRM-15s, and then I've got 1 NARC. Now, if you put the NARC where I put it in the build, you end up with the NARC way up on top. And then I have 2 ER medium lasers that flank the head, so if you can see it, you can shoot it. And I have those set up on button 1. Button 2 operates my NARC, so that I can fire the NARC independently of anything else. I don't always necessarily want to fire the NARC along with my lasers. And the reason for that is because I don't want to have to put 3 tons of ammo on board just for the NARC. It seems kind of redundant when you really think about it. So I have 2 of these, by the way, set up exactly the same. They're identical. And the reason for it is because events and sometimes I get into faction plays and stuff, which is rare. I think I have like maybe 5 videos of faction play, whereas event play, 15 or 20 videos, and then regular skirmish, I don't know, 2,000-3,000, something like that. Anyway, so yeah, the this build is it's a learning curve, but once you get this thing down, doing 1,000 damage will become an everyday occurrence. Doing 700 or more damage a day or a match is going to be an everyday occurrence for you. Let me show you how this thing is laid out. So first of all, let's talk about the basic stuff. I've got 6 double heat sinks on board. 6. And that gives me a heat management of 1.43. 143 is love. Love means you're going to be able to survive your heat scales in the match. So people always say, like, well, you always run an override, and that's stupid. No, I run an override because I don't want the mech telling me when I can play or not. So I run proper amounts of heat management in order to do this. This is going to be a big curtail for this. And this has taken me a year to come up with this build. And I've tried this several different ways. When it's really fun is when you do no heat sinks, and then you load up with, like, I don't know, 13, 14 tons of ammo. You end up with like 3,800 missiles on board. The problem with that is you get really hot really fast. So how did I figure out how to curtail this a little bit? Well, putting NARC on board and then a half a ton of ammo that goes with the NARC really makes a difference. So I'm only getting 7 shots, but I figured out that putting a full ton of ammo on board for the NARC, I would end up usually having about 5 or 6 shots left over at the end of a match. So it really wasn't that big a deal. So I only go with this because I'm probably going to fire this maybe 5, maybe 6 times on the outside. If I run out of ammo, I ran out of ammo. I really wanted the ammo on board for the missiles. So I've got 5 LRM-15s, and as long as you put the NARC on as the last item, you end up with the NARC up high, and it makes a little bit of a difference. And for me, it's just kind of more of an aesthetic of having it as high up as I possibly can to take advantage of it. That way I don't have to soak up too much damage. So I've got 2 LRM-15s here and then 3 on the other arm over here. And in order to get the 6 double heat sinks on here and use them more practically, I put them on the torso so that I could take advantage of it. In addition, I have 6 tons of ammo here, plus 2 more tons on each arm. That gives me 10 tons of ammo, which works out to 2,760 shots, I think is what the number is. Yeah, 2,760 shots, which is more than enough ammo. Believe me. I've only run out of ammo on this build a couple times, maybe twice. And I was really frivolous with it. I just basically was firing them. I was doing a lot of dumb fires where you fire them without a lock. And sometimes you get good hits and sometimes you don't. It's just the way things are. You can't always depend on a lock. And I really like firing my laser or my missiles without a lock, especially on unsuspecting mechs. You come up behind them and you hit them with that at the same time as you hit them with the lasers. It's a no-brainer. It's gonna hurt. I alpha striked a God, what was that? It was a Thunderbolt once, and he was fresh, and it was the end of the match for him. He was done. I was already cooling down by the time he hit the ground. So this is a really good build in that respect. So let's talk about it. So I've got a heat management of 1.43. I got a firepower of real firepower of 87. Speed 64.8. I didn't do any tweaks to that whatsoever. And let's take a look at the quirks. Since I'm getting the original quirks, let's take a look and see what we get. XP bonus plus 2.5. Energy cooldown minus 10. Range plus 5. I love range. Missile heat generation minus 10%. Center torso plus 20. This is a clan mech we're talking about, by the way, boys and girls. Clan mechs don't typically do this. So center torso plus 20. Right and left torso plus 15. These are numbers you typically see on Intersphere mechs. Left and right arm plus 20. Wow. That is stellar. Target decay duration plus 0.5. Yeah, these are real numbers. This is a tanky ass heavy mech. You don't see these kind of numbers on heavy mechs, let alone clan mechs. And I've done, hundreds of videos on reviews. Let's go take a look at the skills. Well, something's wrong here. That explains something. So typically what I have is not this. What happened here? Narc, got that. Yeah. Oh yeah, I got rid of seismic. I usually run seismic. I almost always run seismic. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. A little internal dialogue. So, full range that gets me all the way out to, I believe it's out all the way out to 1080. Yeah, 1080 meters, which is really nice. Better than that standard 1035. And then I've got eight nodes just in a heat generation. Full velocity, full missile features, obviously. Skeletal density, armor hardening, 3 into the reinforced casing. It makes a difference. It really does. Overheat damage, just 1, just in case. I mean, this is already a pretty cool mech, but you will get hot over time. Cool run, heat containment. This is an LRM boat, so I'm definitely running target decay. So I can take advantage of when they go into cover. But when they go into cover on ATMs, you don't have indirect fire, so it doesn't really make much of a difference to have target decay. It helps other people, but it doesn't really help you much. Then sensor range, actually a must. I would pick sensor range on this, even if I didn't need the radar deprivation. But yeah, absolutely full radar deprivation on board. 2 cool shots of UAV, and of course, enhanced NARC. What is enhanced NARC doing for you? Well, it increases the projectile speed and the amount of time that it stays locked onto the mech. Here's something I found. If you're doing damage to somebody and you have that projectile attached to like an arm or a leg or something, if they lose that component, you lose that NARC. It's just a weird thing. And sometimes you lose the fact that you have them NARCed. Or as I like to refer to it as Wi-Fi. I guess it just happens occasionally when there's like lots of ECM around. Yeah, so this is the build out here, and I basically, like I said, at buttons 1 operates the lasers. They're so close together, it's almost kind of, redundant. And then button 2 is for the NARC, and then button 3 does the 5 LRM-15s. And now, how do I fire these? On the beginning of a match, like I do on some of my ATM builds, I fire all 5 of these at the same time. You can do this twice in close succession. So as soon as they cool down, you can fire them again, but you will be close to the red line. So you will be close to overheat. But you can do it twice, and then if you want to, you can cool down, wait about until you get below 50%, and then hit it again. Anytime you get below 50%, even just a little bit below 50%, you can do this again, but you will get close to the heat scale as long as you have this build set up. So it is a close thing that you can do. If you've got really good locks, there's no reason not to just let it go into cycle mode. You just click that, that backspace button, let it go to cycle mode, and then just fire them in full repetition. After you fire all 5, you're going to have to wait about 2-3 seconds, I think it is. And then they'll start up again. Sometimes you have to click that button again just to make sure that they cycle. I've held the button down and they just stop cycling. And for me, that's the thumb. Anyway, so this is the build of this guy. And what I have to say about this is, if you learn how to play this mech, you'll really love it. And how much do I love it? I bought 2 of them.